presidents. I said it once. Maybe you heard me. If you did not, I'll say it again. How can 55 African presidents fail to undo what 5 or 10 Europeans did during the Benin Conference in terms of dividing Africa?
Did before, maybe you heard me, or maybe you did not hear me, but I'll say it again. How can 54 presidents fail to undo what 5 or 10 Europeans did at the Berlin Conference in terms of dividing Africa among themselves? That was really deep, coming from our elder Joshua Maponga. I thank you very much for coming around. Please support our mission, One Africa Mission, because here in One Africa Mission, exactly what Elder Joshua Maponga is crying for is exactly what we are doing here in One Africa Mission. Our mission is all about our unity, a borderless Africa, and our dignity as African people, because we believe that without unity, we can never regain back our dignity as children of Africa. What is preventing us from, at least, just as Elder Joshua Maponga is calling for, what is preventing the African Union from giving us one passport, at least if for nothing? Because Elder Joshua Maponga in this particular interview said that the resolution this year must be pushing for one passport. At least the African Union must give us one passport. And you know, the irony is that the African Union already have passport. We have African Union passport. The other day I was in Ethiopia, and I saw a lady from Nigeria who is based in South Africa holding African Union passport. I approached her as a Pan-Africanist, as somebody who is working tirelessly for a united Africa. I approached her and I asked her about her passport, and she said to me, yeah, it's African Union passport. And I said, I didn't know African Union passport has a passport. She said to me, yeah, African Union has a passport for African Union staff. So she was traveling from South Africa to Ethiopia for a meeting. So they have a passport for themselves to travel around the continent of Africa. Yet, me and you, citizens of Africa, we have been crying and calling for this, and yet we are not having it. Let this year be a year of one passport for we, the children of Africa. Because I keep saying it, the Europeans or the Americans, 50 states, they have one passport. That is why their passport is valued all over the world. 50 states, one passport. The Europeans claim that they have different passports, but that is a lie. They are deceiving us as children of Africa. Because if you are holding a European passport from Germany, Britain, France, Italy, you have the privilege to travel around not only Europe, but the whole world. So in a nutshell, they have made themselves citizens of this planet Earth. And yet we, the indigenous, we, the melanated people from Africa, we have allowed them to make us second-class citizens, because the European have the opportunity to travel around the world with his European passport. Yet we Africans doesn't have that privilege. This year should be a year of at least one passport. We must demand for that as citizens of Africa. I thank you very much for coming around. But as I said, there's a good news coming from the Sahel. I want us to go and listen to the leader, the president of Mali, Assimi Goïta, come back and analyze it as he announced the Sahel region coming out with one passport. Let's go and listen to him come back and analyze it.
Que je m'adresse à vous en ces jours de commémoration de la date qui a changé le cours de notre histoire commune. Il y a un an, dans la consolidation des relations fraternelles qui lient nos trois nations, le Burkina Faso, le Mali et le Niger. Le 16 septembre 2023, nous avons adopté la charte du Liptako-Gourma, donnant naissance à l'Alliance des États du Sahel. Je tiens également à saluer nos diasporas qui, par leur engagement et leur soutien indéfectible, constituent un levier solide pour l'AES. Il sera mis en circulation un nouveau passeport biométrique de l'AES dans le but d'harmoniser les documents de voyage dans notre espace commun et de faciliter la mobilité de nos citoyens à travers le monde. Des projets culturels, sportifs et éducatifs sont également en cours pour renforcer l'unité de nos peuples. La création d'une chaîne d'information commune est également prévue.
Yes, so that is the leader of Mali, Assimi Goïta. So according to him, the Sahel, as you already know, they are coming out with one passport, which is remarkable, which is what we need as African people. If three countries or three states, as we call them here in One African Mission, because all these 54 countries, we call them states. So if three states can come out with one passport, it tells us that the continent of 54 states can come out with one passport, just as the Americans did. And that will give us the opportunity as African people to appreciate our continent. So if you are from Burkina Faso, from Mali, from Niger, you have the chance to travel around those three states. And that will help you to appreciate what is happening in another state. The reason why we are not appreciating what is happening in Somalia as West Africans, the reason why we are not appreciating what is happening in Somalia as East Africans, the reason why we are not appreciating what is happening in Congo as Southern Africa is because we don't have the privilege to go there and witness and see what is happening. The Europeans have the privilege to appreciate what is happening in other parts of Europe because they have the opportunity to go there all the time. But we don't have that opportunity. It is about time we demand for that. And that is exactly what the Sahel have started. And I'm sure very soon you're going to see the ECOWAS coming out with their own passport. Because the other day that the president of Burkina Faso talked about one currency in the Sahel, we started hearing ECOWAS talking about one currency. Even though for the past 40 years, citizens of ECOWAS have been calling for one currency, and they never wanted to give the citizens one currency because of France. French countries refused to approve one currency for West Africa. But all of a sudden, ECOWAS want to come out with one currency to counter what our leaders in the Sahel are doing. So whatever that all those regional bodies are doing, thanks will go, the appreciations will go to those in the Sahel, because our leaders in the Sahel, they are redefining the geopolitics of Africa, and we must be proud of them because they are redefining it based on the interests of Africa. The African Union, the ECOWAS, and whatever regional bodies we have, they have been working for the interests of our colonial criminals. But today, we have leaders in the Sahel who are working for our interests as African people. So, Elder Joshua Maponga, yes, it is time we stand for one at least passport. We need that as African people. We cannot, if you go, like, if you have the opportunity to go to a different country from your home country where you were born, and you question people, even in your own country, if you question average African, they don't have the opportunity, or they don't have the privilege to travel outside of where they were born. This is serious. That is why we don't appreciate our continent. That is why the Europeans at least have the opportunity to travel 3 times in a year. Travel here, travel there, travel there. Because of that, they appreciate Europe. Go to your country. You watching me right now. Go outside and ask your colleague, even you yourself, have you ever traveled outside of your country before? When I was in Ethiopia, in some part of Kenya, if you ask young men and women, have you ever traveled outside of your country before? They will tell you no. Why? Why are we denying ourselves as African people the privilege to explore our continent? Europeans have the opportunity to come to Africa and explore the continent. Yet we, the citizens of Africa, we don't have that privilege. As we speak now, One African Mission wants to travel to Botswana. We check, we are coming from an so-called Commonwealth country, but we are not allowed, even though all Commonwealth countries are allowed to travel to Botswana with visa free, but we are not allowed. People from Nigeria and Ghana are not allowed to go to Botswana with visa free. Why? But somebody from Britain, somebody from New Zealand, somebody from Australia who call himself or herself a Commonwealth citizen have the privilege to go to Botswana with visa free. But somebody from Nigeria, an African from Ghana, doesn't have the opportunity or the privilege to go to Botswana visa-free. Why are we doing this to ourselves? We want to go to Botswana to meet our brothers and sisters and to speak to them as to the need for us to unite as African people. But no, the Botswana leadership will not grant us that privilege to go to our brothers and sisters. It is as likewise, citizens from Botswana doesn't have the privilege to go to Nigeria or Ghana with visa free. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Why? Citizens of Africa, we are citizens. We must get angry enough to demand a borderless Africa for ourselves. Enough is enough, we must say. We must say to our leaders that we want, at least if for nothing, one African passport, so that I will wake up anytime, any day, and travel around the continent of Africa and appreciate what Mother Nature has given to me. We want to have that interaction among ourselves as African people. Why? Why? I know, and that is a fact, that African people, young Africans or citizens of Africa, we don't explore the continent. We just sitting down. We allow these Europeans to make themselves, these colonizers, these colonial criminals to make themselves citizens of this world. And yet, we are second-class citizens. The time has come for us to bring change. And that is why we are here. We are calling on you to support our mission, One African Mission. As we embark on this mission, we want your support. How do you support us? You can only support us by sharing what we are doing. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, then do that. Follow us on Facebook, on TikTok, One African Mission, the number One African Mission. We are missionaries, and our mission is all about the unity of our continent and our dignity as a race. Until we kick Satan out of Africa, we have no rest, because we will always be seen as second-class citizens. But we are not. We are also first-class citizens of this world. But we can only gain ourselves that privilege by uniting the continent of Africa. I thank you very much for coming around. Please support our mission. Let us all fight for a united, better Africa. Not just for us, but for the next generation of Africans. Thank you.